We welcome
Yes.
you back to the Herbal Spot. This is our season 4, where we will be chatting with our guests about plants and people and having a broad look at the village voices. These voices will share with us about the importance of plants to people for survival generally, as food, as medicine, and even for our cultural traditions. The Biocultural Education and Research Program ultimately has the goal of promoting transformation through biocultural education. And the Herbal Spot is one of our educational tools. Today, I am so happy to welcome my guest, who will be a voice from our villages across the Atlantic. He is Tonny Asafo Agyei, and he's in Ghana. And I'm thrilled to be continuing our relationship by having this chat on the Herbal Spot. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sonia Peter. I'm
Thank
very
you.
happy to hear from you again.
Great. I'll just give a little bit on um, where you are and what you're doing right now, and that will lead us into our discussion.
Okay.
Tony is a senior research scientist at the Center for Plant Medicine Research in Mapong, Akwepem, Ghana. He is currently in the role of Head of Plant Development Department. And as I have been telling you, Tony, it is a great pleasure to have you as our first guest from Africa on the Herbal Spot and being the first guest for this new season. This is a form of reconnection for me. I know that
Yeah.
we have started to look at the traditions of our people um, in Barbados, and we know that those traditions came over with our ancestors. So, what
Mhm.
does this sort of reconnection of sorts mean to you?
Yeah. First of all, I'll say I feel very honored that in the whole of Africa, I am the first person that is speaking on behalf of Africa. As in, I know a lot more people will be contacted, but to be the first is a privilege, and so I'm grateful. Um, yes, Barbados, Ghana, or the Caribbeans and Africa. This reconnection means a lot to me because it's almost like when your brother. So when if you have a brother and then as children, one is taken away maybe for the greener pastures by another family member, or maybe he's taken away for to further education or something. Whatever reason that your brother or your sister is taken away from you, whenever you get to meet your brother or your sister again after a long time, that feeling is what I always feel when I get in contact with or reconnect with my brothers and sisters in the Caribbean. That's brotherly, sisterly feeling is what I feel, and I felt it more when I visited Barbados in 2022, somewhere August. I actually thought I was visiting a country of white people until I realized that everybody there who I met looked like me, and the weather was almost like that in Ghana.
Mhm.
Everything looked except that the air is more humid because you are surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes.
Aside that, the food I ate, I think during the Afro-Caribbean conference, I chanced on a particular food that was made from ripe plantain. My grandmother used to prepare that food for us. I saw that food and I was surprised. I ate, and I even asked for some extra to take to my hotel to consume because I never expected to see that food. Just that the name is different.
Yes.
I've forgotten the name that I was told, but the taste and everything is just like what my grandmother used to cook for us when I was a child.
Yes.
So this reconnection, this reconnection it's a sisterly, brotherly connection that I always feel, and it means a lot to me.
Yes, thank you so much for that. I often get very emotional when this whole narrative comes up for discussion. I find myself, because it is a thematic that I include in many of my presentations at conferences that I attend, which invariably is examining biocultural traditions. And, it always leads us back to our historical beginnings. And
Yeah.
and Tony, I remember when I visited Ghana and you took us to the place where our ancestors were taken from their homeland on those ships. And just looking out in the direction in which the ships traveled, it had me so emotional to the point where I really could not continue with the tour. And I could just imagine, thinking about the fact that our ancestors actually walked the shores in Ghana, and then they were walking the shores in Barbados in the 1600s to the early 1800s. And we must never not acknowledge that aspect of our history. But I wonder, from your perspective, how valuable do you think the biocultural knowledge that our ancestors brought with them to the shores of Barbados? How important was that knowledge for their survival?
Yes. So this biocultural knowledge, I would say, was very, 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 very important or valuable to their survival, both during the journey and when they arrived at their final destinations in the Caribbean. I'll take during the journey. I presume that some medicinal plants, maybe the seeds or the leaves or whatever it is, were also carried along because maybe they knew or they may face some hardships that may result in they contracting some diseases. Now, this knowledge, I'm just imagining if none of them or none of our ancestors had this knowledge, I wonder how many of them might have made it to their final destinations. From wound healing to common common malaria,
Yes,
to common cold, tuberculosis, maybe skin infections.
yes,
I strongly believe that if they had no knowledge of plant use
yes,
for these conditions, it might have been very difficult. And a little history I read was that they were treating themselves in a clandestine manner. They were not making their how do they call them? Their masters. They hid their practice from their masters. Yes. So the value of this biocultural knowledge is something that I cannot even attempt to measure.
Yes.
But it was it was an invaluable asset or something they had at that moment,
Yes.
which helped them both in their journey and when they arrived at their final destinations. Even mostly, I think at their final destination, because I mean, in the ships where they were being transported, I'm not sure you will find plant species in there. But when they arrived in Barbados and in the Caribbean, which has similar climates like that we have in Ghana, and of course, as I mentioned, when I visited Barbados in 2022, I could see almost every species in Ghana there. I am yet to, maybe I didn't chance on the ones that are maybe endemic to Barbados, but almost all the ones I saw, we have them in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
So they were very, our ancestors were very, very, very fortunate to have maybe encountered the species they knew could help them medicinally in Barbados. I mean, they finding them there was very, very fortunate for them. So the value is unmeasurable. It was very important for their survival.
Yes, perfectly stated. It had to be immense and, as you say, immeasurable. And we know that that biocultural heritage has been transferred through time, and we see our modern applications, just like when you came and you had your planting, and it just felt as if you were at home, and that is really what it is, separated by an ocean, but certainly not separated in terms of what was in our people's hearts and what remains there. And yes. And if we could look at this now, maybe a little closer, and look at both the further use in terms of plants as a source of food and also medicine. But let's look at sources of food, because I think we see a lot of documentaries that do indicate the resilience of Africans in this biocultural knowledge and the capacity for finding sources of food, even in regions where we may think that there's no feasible source, but they always do seem to be so resilient. Within our food culture, we tend to use a lot of root tubers, starchy fruits, fibrous fruits, and vegetables. And how do we compare? If we give some further examples, certainly great to hear about the use of plantain, and that is one that is popularly discussed across social media. What other examples can you share with us that we have in common in terms of our food culture?
Okay. So for the food, the vegetables, I will list a few. So the turkey berry, that is Solanum tovum, is one of the vegetables. So it's a vegetable in Ghana. At the same time, it's a medicinal plant. So for food, The fruits are used in soups and sauces.
Ooh.
And then the leaves, yeah, the leaves are also used to control microbial activities. We use it to also treat epilepsy, and then it is applied on the skin when one gets burns. The leaf sap, the leaf sap can be applied on the skin after one experiences burns.
Okay.
Yes, and then the leaf sap, that is the liquid from the leaf, is also used to treat epilepsy.
Okay, that's great to hear.
Yes, and then the fruits, the fruits is used in soups and sauces, especially when a woman gets pregnant. Most of the soups and sauces that the woman will take, they will intentionally add the fruits of turkey berries, and it is known from both indigenous knowledge and research that the fruit contains high level of iron, and so it is used to serve the mother a lot of blood. So it's used as a blood kind of giving fruit.
Okay, this is
So
really
people,
fun. Yeah, I don't mean to
yeah,
interject, but this is really fantastic to hear, and I'll tell you why. We recently established, in collaboration with the Andromeda Botanic Garden, an ethnobotanical garden space, and
mm,
turkeyberry is one of the plants that we have included in that garden space, and we typically do tours, and we try to impact the participants regarding
mm,
the relevance and importance of that garden. Now you have given me some additional information that I can share with persons who do come to share with us in that space. So this is really fascinating to hear about that application of turkeyberry. Uh-huh. So
yeah,
let's
definitely.
hear of some of the others.
Okay, so another I would like to share is cowpea.
Okay.
So cowpea, the mature seeds are cooked. So it's the seeds that we often eat. So we cook it and eat it
Okay.
together with other vegetables. And then they also use the seeds so the dried seeds are used as fodder. Yeah, as
Yes.
fodder
So this
for
is
animals.
is this the same as black eyed pea?
The black eye pea.
Oh,
Yes,
fantastic.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Yeah. So we use a lot of that here as well.
So we also have the Cockroach olitorius, the jute.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That is also eaten here. The leaves, we also eat the leaves. Then the leaves is eaten like as a vegetable. And then we have a root decoction that is used to treat toothache.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. We do have of course we have some related species, but this is not one that features in our biocultural traditions.
Okay. Okay. So
Okay.
these are indigenous vegetables in Ghana.
Yes.
Then we have bitter leaf. Bitter
Bitter
leaf.
leaf.
Yes.
What's the scientific name?
Venonia amygdalina. Here in Ghana, the dried young stems are used as chewing sticks. You
Ah,
know, yeah. So people will use it for oral hygiene.
okay. So it has
Yeah.
antibacterial properties as well?
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Yes.
Our forefathers, they will use it. They don't really know about antibacterial and anti what, but they know that when you chew it, it gives you very good oral hygiene.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
beauty of it is that we can, with our modern methods,
Modern, yes,
validate the
Yeah,
knowledge that they were using. And this is what also excites me, when
yeah.
we
So
can
what?
do that type of
mm,
validation.
so all the uses I'm saying are validated. So it's been confirmed.
Yes,
So their usage has been confirmed through some studies that
yes,
they are actually useful for the purposes I'm mentioning.
yes, yes,
Yes, it has some scientific data to back
yes,
what.
yes.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
there's a book called The Useful Plants of West Tropical Africa.
Great. Uh-huh.
Most of these are documented in it.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm
Yeah.
wondering about two of the very popular plants here on island, with
Mm.
quite a vast biocultural
Okay.
tradition
Mm.
associated with them, and these are aloe and castor oil.
Aloe. Aloe. Aloe is also used here in Ghana. It has several uses. Um, we use it, the leaf. The leaf is used for asthma and cough treatment.
Yes, same here.
Same there.
Yes,
That is evidence of biocultural knowledge transfer.
exactly. I have this extremely beautiful story that I always give, of a
Okay.
grandmother in
Okay.
our more rural areas on island. She claimed to have cured her grandson of asthma by using aloe, and
Oh.
then she topped it up because she wanted to be certain that he was indeed cured. And she gave him a lovely dish of soup made from lizard, our local lizards. Um, and this has been repeated, not only from her. I've heard it from other individuals, and it seems to be, as you said, an important piece of biocultural knowledge that is persisting culturally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did I hear you say local lizard?
that's correct.
Why did she prepare a soup with the local lizard
Yes,
and not?
because it is the tradition that was given to her, and she is convinced. She tells me that her grandson never had another asthma attack. That combination of it was a 7 day treatment with aloe in the mornings, and after the 7 day treatment, she followed up with a lovely broth, maybe, but the active ingredient in that broth was the local lizard. Yes.
So is it the aloe that did the treatment,
Mhm.
or the soup with the local lizard? What is the person thinking actually did the treatment?
Well, again, I'm saying, it is the biocultural practice. It isn't
Sure,
always
sure, sure.
that, yeah, it isn't always that we can rationalize everything that was done. But in her
Yeah.
mind, pardon me, in her mind, it is that double dose of biocultural therapy, if we wished, that cured her grandson of asthma. And it's a narrative that was given, and we can take it at face. But what I'm saying is
Yes.
that whenever I share, there is invariably a couple individuals within the audience who will confirm that they know of the practice, even if they themselves have not experienced it. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, I understand. I understand.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
interesting. This is something I'm also going to note down.
Yes,
But I don't know the species of lizard she used,
yes.
so I cannot go.
Um,
Mm,
we don't have much diversity within our fauna. Um,
okay.
yeah, so, and even our lizard population,
Mm,
there's not that much diversity.
okay.
Yeah, but this is
So
something that this is something that we can explore, because it,
Sure.
it, it has a source somewhere.
Yeah.
It's similar to the fact that within our tradition here, it is said that we should, when we are making our herbal teas, that we should use no more than odd numbers of leaves. Yeah. So
Oh,
if
okay.
you're making a tea, then you should use 3 leaves, 5 leaves, but not even numbers of leaves. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think these are
It's,
things that we can follow up and see if there's a common source. But these are
mm,
the some of the features of our tradition. So it's good to hear about that use of aloe for asthma, colds, and flu. And
yeah.
and yes, aloe is known. I think if you ask any Barbadian to give at least one plant that they know of having importance within our healing traditions, any Barbadian, I do believe, will mention aloe. It is
Oh,
really, yes, a big part of our biocultural tradition, and it's used for everything, facial care, it's used for hair care, it's
mhm.
used for intestinal health and
I see.
respiratory health, even chronic non-communicable diseases is used for. So it is one of the go-to plants within our
I,
culture when it comes to looking for plants as sources of healing. What about castor oil?
that is Ricinus communis. The roots is ground into a paste
Yes.
and then inserted into the nostrils to cure headache.
Oh my. Okay. Yeah. Well, we use
Yeah.
it to cure headache as well, but it is a banding of the head with the large leaves. So that is the
Like
difference there.
the seeds, the seeds are used for abortions that it can terminate pregnancy.
Okay.
So I also know that the seeds can be used as a contraceptive.
Okay.
Yes. So one lady told me that is what she uses as a contraceptive some time ago. That the seeds, so she dries the seeds, and then she will blend them into fine powder, and then add it to her meal, or she can even just soak it in water and drink. And that is and that is a fine, according to her, that has never failed her.
Oh my. Okay. Well, um, that is not one of the uses that I have on record. We are always concerned about the seed because you know that it has a significant percentage of the protein ricin, which is
Yeah.
toxic generally, and it's possible that that application is due to the toxicity of the ricin in the seed. So we're
Oh,
not documented as using the seed for that application. We typically use
okay.
the leaves. We use the leaves for fever as well, but it's also a case of banding the body when one has fever, and as your fever abates, it is reflected in the leaf becoming dried to the point where it becomes crisp. That is well noted within our tradition. Other than that, the oil expressed is used in hair
Mhm.
care and skincare, and also for intestinal health and boosting the immune system.
Okay. I think I saw, yes, I think I saw some products
Hmm.
during the Africa Review
Okay.
being displayed. Yeah,
Okay.
products from the castor oil.
Right.
For I think it is mostly used for cosmeceuticals
Yes.
nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah,
That is true. But
yeah,
we also had
yeah.
I say had because I'm not sure that it's still part of the tradition, but our school age children, the tradition was just before re-entering school for a new academic year, they had to go through um, a purging with castor oil, and it was
Yes.
thought that that would um, boost the immune system overall by cleansing the colon and hinder the children, being impacted by any illnesses that would have been going around the school. And I believe that they also felt that it was important for them to have a clarity in terms of learning and taking in the new information. And it's in modern times that research is demonstrating that your colon is important as well in terms of having a neural connection to what's happening in the brain. I was certainly fascinated to hear the modern um, technologies allowing us to probe and maybe unexpectedly offer some proof as to the validity of these biocultural practices. Any person around my age here on Barbados will tell you that they had to endure a course of castor oil before entering the new academic year when they were very young. And it is not a pleasant exercise.
Mm, yeah. So I was about to say that the root bark is also used as a purgative here in Ghana.
Okay,
The root bark.
the
So
root bark.
the root
Yes,
is used as a purgative.
yes.
Similarly, I don't know the parts they use for the children before they go to school, but here we use the root bark.
Okay, okay. Yes, all fascinating. So I know that we could sit and chat for an extended period, but I am mindful of the fact that you are busy conducting research into these plants again, validating their uses, and even looking at how we can, look at being innovative in product development based on our research. So I'm going to ask you generally any parting words you like to leave for our listening audience. Our audience is always fascinated by these, connections. And I do think, having a colleague from Africa, from Ghana, is so important to hear your voice, share how we are indeed so similar. And as I said earlier, separated by a body of water, but certainly not by tradition. So, any parting words you'd like to leave with us?
Yeah. So um, once again, I feel very privileged to be contacted for this to share my ideas, and I would say that. So I'm currently Barbados, that is Export Barbados BIDC, shared in the same vein the importance of uh, this biocultural knowledge that we both share. I mean, as you said, just the Atlantic uh, having its own divisional role, but we Export Barbados BIDC is sponsoring the establishment of a twin medicinal plants garden in Ghana and in Barbados. So the Ghana twin started about a year and a half ago. It's almost near completion. It has about 200 species of medicinal plants that are both in Ghana and in Barbados. So most of these species that I have mentioned can be found in the Ghana medicinal plant garden. And when we are done with the twin in Ghana, we would duplicate or have its other twin in Barbados, having the same design and the same medicinal plant species. The whole idea is to have the same, if not the same, similar medicinal plant species for ecotourism, for research, for basic taxonomic studies on medicinal plants that are used for treating common diseases in both Ghana and Barbados. We hope that when this Twin Garden project is completed, people, when Barbadians visit Ghana, they will see most of their medicinal plant species here. And when we visit Barbados, we will see most of our Ghanaian medicinal plant species in that garden. And then the ultimate goal is to be able to utilize these species for mankind, both cosmeceuticals, in the treatment of disease, its conservation. You know, most of these species are in the wild, and we have actually domesticated them in the garden.
Yes.
So having them in the garden alone is enough of a conservation method. You know, because very soon you may not find these species around you anymore, and so the garden happens to be an ex situ conservation method for these medicinal plants, which we really are happy of. So hopefully the next time I visit Barbados, I would get a platform to show you or talk about the garden in depth, its design, its digitized labeling and everything. It's a very beautiful one that we have done, courtesy or sponsored by Export Barbados BIDC. So as I said, my center, we deal with herbal medicines research, and then we have a clinic and everything. I always tell people that whenever I see the aged, you know, mostly, especially during the COVID period, but even before the COVID period, the aged will just walk slowly every day. They come slowly, walk slowly to our place. They see our clinicians, the medical herbalists. You know, they get their medication. They walk slowly back, and sometimes then they come back and they attest to the fact that a disease condition that they have battled with for years, when they visited our center and then they were given our herbal medicines that came out of research, they have been cured or they have been treated. That is my joy. And that is why I work at the Center for Plant Medicine Research all these years. That joy of our research being able to discover a natural remedy to treat diseases that people have been asked to go home and die from the orthodox people, we are able to handle them. And it's all because of the knowledge that we have obtained from our forefathers, that we have researched into and gotten something useful out of it to treat people. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Tonny. I could not have said it better either. You know, we do share a lot in common in terms of our ideals and where we see research into the chemistry of plants and the knowledge that our people had in terms of applying these plants. I really started the nonprofit Biocultural Education and Research Program in 2017 with that same ideal. I felt that it was important to have a platform where we could share about the values that our ancestors brought to the island, and seeing how that value can be realized in an expanded platform. And you said it quite well. I had the pleasure of touring a bit of your garden in Ghana, and it really, any Barbadian visiting that garden would really feel as if they are visiting a garden at home. And this is the importance
Mm,
of our connection. I want to thank you so very
yeah.
much. It has been an honor um, talking with you, and I look forward to us having further conversations. Our symposium in 2025 will be in the Bahamas. Hopefully, we're working on that right now. And it would really be super if you could be in attendance at that symposium and share on the development of your garden. And we will be in touch about that further. So thank you so very much, and I wish you all the best as you continue in establishing this connection with Barbados and also in your personal research. Do have a good day.
Thank you.